The answer, my friend, is a blowing in the wind. Just a blowing in the wind. Yes, indeed. Financial Times today on the asset bubble that is Bitcoin. Now, we have the article talking about Bitcoin being an asset bubble, too much, going too fast. And then a reference that on a clip I made separate to this article that had the NHS be hacked. And the key point I didn't get to mention in that YouTube clip because it came out a few moments later in subsequent releases. A Bitcoin cryptocurrency ransom on the NHS. Today's Financial Times, the Rothschilds rag of note, classic economic financial, bit like the Ecocnomist, a troika, a media of the control structure, comes out with GCHQ intelligence lord, and I didn't capture the name, and now it wants me to pay to read their crummy article, which I just simply refuse to do after first read, saying yes, that bitcoins are becoming more proliferated and corporations are getting involved with it, etc. And then they are leaning and engaging and getting closer to and interacting with criminal elements. And the big question from someone in the financial regulation industry is that Japan has recently done X, Y, and Z with regards to regulation elements, and regulation is behind the curve here on this fast-moving industry, and action is needed. So we have an intelligence person branding it criminality, attaching criminality to Bitcoin and cryptos. We have a regulation-based person commenting on how other nation states, of which there's only really one, and the move was not particularly great, requires regulation. In other words, they want to go after and they want to control the crypto world, as if already, I don't believe. Oh, and it was also about the exchanges, compliance, and certain money laundering checks to be done. So it's always about the tax that they can extract, the data on you that they can extract and hold, and the control structure exerting control and stripping you of liberty and anonymity. That's one element of it all. It's also, and this is a second string that most people don't realize, is we're having a disorderly increase in the cryptocurrencies. And the Fed doesn't once a week dollar, but to devalue its debt, wants a low interest rates so it can create a stagflation and diminish that debt, yet at the same time everyone can still have bubbles aplenty. But they don't ever want disorderly dollar loss. It's the notion of disorderly, something doing too much too soon, whether it be to downside or upside. And from the Rijkaard's book, which I'll be doing some synopsises for you on, there's some really good bits in it, and there's some bits that I don't think he's made the case on, the new case for gold. I'll be doing some bits on it, but he made the same point, and it's something I've already known, but it was interesting to see it come through. They want to control the manner in which things occur, and they are undermined if things adjust too quickly, too soon. So what has recently been happening? Bitcoin has been too strong. Bitcoin has been too strong, and the crypto categories as a whole have been huge this year. There's certain outside, the altcoins, which I mean basically all coins outside of Bitcoin, some of which have gone 800, 900% this year. What this is doing is it causes the early adopter stampede too soon. So you've got your normal distribution, and those of you that are involved in the crypto are part of the extremes of the normal distribution. You get the people that will never get there, it's too confusing and they don't know how to do internet yet. They're on the one end, and you get the really early adopters. You might say, but Bitcoin's been around for a while. As a percentage of the global population and money, we have not yet even begun. And the problem is we're getting this big move. They say it's a problem, I don't. We've got currency, national currencies that are tied to a debt bomb that actually aren't worth the paper they're written on, and people are throwing their fiat into the ether. That's what really happening. So what's going on here is they're going to put the brakes under the crypto world category, in my view. So those that take Ripple, for example, where there's potentially a large amount that has not yet been allocated, this increased supply might come in and crush price. So they will over control, they will over egg the supply, they will cause an overhang, and they'll do early additional release. They'll say it's under the proviso of liquidity, but if you flood a market with supply and it starts going down, all the momentum chasers bugger off. They go somewhere else and they wait for silver and gold to go up, and it'll start moving. They may even let silver and gold go up for a bit, because silver and gold, which is the real intrinsic money, people have been diverted into crypto, including myself, by the way, and I do think there's a justification for it. So I'm not knocking crypto, but including myself, what they might even do is let the gold and silver re-expand back up. It's not really done much. It's come off quite a bit of late. So what we might get is a bit of a metals run, and a bit of a calming down on the crypto fronts. Why? Because the control structure does not want disorderly climbs, because it points to the failure of their existing game, and they're not ready for it. They need to control the timing of the reset. They want to pull the plug when they are pulling the plug. They don't want a stampede, getting too many people too excited too soon, and seeing too many people rush out the cinema door yet. The bomb ain't ready to blow, and they're holding on to that fuse. So that's part of the game. How do you do that? You discredit it again. So they reheat the criminalization element. They were big on this for a while. And then there were the hacking of the exchanges and everything. Then suddenly all the exchanges were getting your passports, your IDs. You couldn't do more than a certain amount, the limits. They complied. They got cut some slack. Now they're doing too well. You're not allowed to do too well. You're not allowed to do too well too soon. They're going to break your knees and slow you right the hell down, because you're showing the things that are still meant to run for a while up, and they don't want that. And this is the game of the crypto. So now you get the Rothschilds rag in the FT, and it'll probably feature in Economist, and they'll use bubble. Everything's a bubble. Anything that goes up is a bubble. I'm so sick of the word bubble. I just don't use that word. I don't use the word bubble, because every moron that's ever shows up on TV or any talking head talks about bubble. There's certain categories that need to establish themselves on a much bigger scale. And in the same way, we had no tech stocks 3 decades ago. Yes, there was a pile of trash that got listed, and certain rubbish was having money thrown on it, and you could argue that there was a bubble in that. Amazon, Cisco, eBay, Google, all of these things. Does that mean it's all rubbish? Was all a bubble? These things are huge. Everybody's buying online. Shops are going closed now. Retail is an online game now. The world has shifted. Crypto is one of these things. Will there be some pile of shit cryptos released? Of course, every moron and its job. Hell, I'm thinking of starting a crypto. We all are. What the hell? But the point is, they aren't all going to work. If you're not really passionate about it, and you don't really have something that's going to make a real difference, and you don't offer something that's unique, and you need a whole shake of luck, and a whole shake of timing, and legitimacy, and good JVs, and good partners, it's not going to fly. But out of the top 10, and up and worth watching the top 25, but out of the top 10, if you take main holdings in that, the volume and the money will generally be right, because it's difficult to ramp something in the top 10. You need billions. So generally there's some level of legitimacy. So the might of the money is generally right. That's why I teach you to play that way. But note the NHS hack. Note my call out the minute I heard it. This is crap. And note the tie to Bitcoin and criminality, hurting your NHS. Every little lovey, every little lefty. You don't even need to be a lefty. It's the most precious thing in Britain. We had the Olympics, and we had to have dancing Mary Poppins nurses with flipping umbrellas. The NHS. It is our divine right, the universal health. Trust me, I had better health service in every other country I've ever lived in. But and I was happy to pay for it because you got private and they knew they had to serve you. But anyway, we've got into a marriage of our social utopia in terms of health, and I don't want poor people not to be given health service, etc. And I certainly don't rate Obamacare and all of that. So I don't want to upset a whole bunch of people on the NHS. But it is this divine little thing. It's the one thing Labour got right. If you're a Labour voter, they created the thing. So you take down the NHS and you threaten their ability to deliver service. So they are all saying, don't come. We can't help you. Our computers are down. It's a great shame. A person-to-person industry for helping someone that doesn't involve computers to deliver the service has to be stopped because of a system, an architecture, back office, infrastructure fail. So I have to raise my hand and say, how? Not every diagnostic piece of equipment involves a computer. So that is an excuse within itself. But that point aside, crypto and hackers get highlighted. What's happened? In the cryptos, too big a run going up here in the UK. FT articles on the weekend. Sure, your Economist and all your media fold like Guardian that are tied to the same power control structures. Bubble, hackers, criminality, cryptos. Tarnish, tarnish, tarnish. They hit the sell bids the first thing on Monday morning and calm right the hell down. Then you take the final straw, which is the technical straw. I said a week ago, with HVF theory, we have made our final target. We had a macro HVF with a target here. We ran that, and on the way we set up smaller geometric technical patterns, incrementally pushing the target further. I dropped from daily to 4 hourly. There were more, ever smaller, going higher and higher. Go check my technical clip with this. I then said, out of Bitcoin progress decay sell-off to come. Promptly thereafter, it sold off. This sell-off all started prior to the NHS events. The technical charting prior to the NHS events. Take your profits on Bitcoin. Sit back. There could be a cooler breeze coming. We've had a big run. People get so used to the big up, leave it in, every day is better than the day before, that they don't realize nothing lasts forever. The geometry and the technical patterns and the news coming to you, technically, fundamentally, there's your reason. That's what's happening. That's my take. I could be wrong on detail. I'm cautioning you. We could be in for a bit of a slowdown for a bit on this. Or certainly the media is going to attempt to put the brakes. That does not mean they'll be successful. Don't say, you were wrong. I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I'm trying to scenario cast and understand what's happening out there to help you. If I'm inaccurate, I'm inaccurate. If I'm accurate, I'm accurate. Let's not use the rights and wrongs. I'm not interested in the ego-invested phrase. I'm just putting a cautionary out there. If you do something slightly more conservative, hold back. If you're on leverage and you take it off, I think you would be smart, personally. However, the media may be unsuccessful. They may just slow it down. They may say the most horrific things, and the wall of money keeps coming, because this is generally expansive market and you need to be in. So the last thing I'm saying is cut and run and the game's up. That I am most definitely not saying. The game is certainly not up. In fact, they're in fear of it running out of control and they're trying to rein it back. And it's a question of how successful they will be. A, highly successful, pull back, the cryptos fall out the news for a while. B, moderately successful, minor pullbacks, churn, no more 20% days, etc., but still doing okay. Or only slightly successful and we just go from flying up to grinding up. Or not successful at all and it just shrugs them off and continues melt up. Any one of those scenarios could exist. But understand the game and the forces behind what's going on here. And you're talking to a man who understands his charting and also reads behind the news. This is the perfect marriage of understanding who is the control structure, the kind of tricks they play, the notion and tendencies for false flags and news-generated events, and how they manage asset categories. Read your books. The thing with anything, that they don't want is disorderly. Notice how absolutely range-bound these forex currencies are. We had a war, a dash to trash that was going on. Everyone was doing their own thing for it. China then fell out of bed. Big fat G8 meeting. Now no major currencies get to fly too far away before the others. This one has a little bit of weakness. That one has a little bit of weakness. We're sitting with the Euro USD for ages now, sitting between the 103, 105 to the 110, 112 range. The two biggest currency zones. And you're looking at the CNY in this holding pattern against the dollar, which looks like it's eventually going to break. It's all happening. They don't want disorderly. When the control structure bangs their heads together, they want things to be dull, to move slowly in new directions. If this thing has to grow and it's been growing too fast for too long, they want to pull the handbrake up. That's my take. Whether they win or not, we will see. Time will tell. Refer back to this clip in 6 months' time. Tell me whether it was a good shout or not. But watch the game that these guys play. This is Francis, your analyzer. Your eyes on the front on the crypto markets. Your technical charters. Go look for that Bitcoin HVF clip. I'll try link it in below. And love you and leave you. Hope you enjoy the weekend and the analysis. And I'll speak to you all soon. Enjoy. Fight the system. Yes. Okay. I'm out of here.